Europe's migration map is changing. For the first time in 25 years, thousands of Poles are leaving Germany to return home. Why are all the Polish people moving back to Poland? Why is it becoming safer, richer, and more attractive than ever? Well, let's look into the numbers and we'll explain why. Hi, this is Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. So for 15 years, I have built a business that looks after high net worth people to find the best options for them and their family in an increasingly volatile world. In today's video, we're going to talk about Poland because more and more people are talking about it. But guess what? Polish people are also moving back to Poland. So you've got reverse migration. Why is that happening? Some of these figures are incredible. I can't wait to tell you. At Millionaire Migrant, we talk about people who are moving, trying to get the best deal for themselves. But guess what? Maybe one day that country will be your own country and you'll be going back to your home country. If the UK wasn't in the messed up state that it is right now, and I could see total transparency about where my high tax is being paid, I wouldn't mind doing it, but it's not. And I don't think, unfortunately, it's going to change anytime soon. So I won't. But I've also told other people that if you are Portuguese, Greek, or Spanish, you can leave your home country and then move back to your home country after 10 years and receive all the money you've made, probably tax-free in some other country. You probably get paid more because you're foreign talent anyway, or if you bring a lot of skills. And then you can receive that money passively, provided everything is fully clear and above the law, and receive that money tax-free for the next 10 years. Bet you didn't know that. This is what we talk about in this channel. Today, we're going to talk about Poland. Polish people are moving back home in huge numbers. If we were to look, even though the data is 1 year old, you can see a massive swing. So we're talking 9,000 people now are moving back home from Poland than ever before. And you can probably see that that number is going to increase. Why is it happening? They just don't see a future for them in Germany. They're just doing the math and it's not adding up. And they're going back and seeing that their country is on the up. Now, I myself actually invested in Poland. It was the third property I ever bought when I was in my 20s, very, very long time ago. But when I bought there, I saw a huge potential and it has just been continuing. I recently sold that property a year ago. I made a good amount of money. It wasn't life-changing, but it was okay. But the fact is that country is really on a great tear and I think they're really crushing it. And it's good to see, by the way, when you see all the doom and gloom that's going on in the world. What's happening in Poland? Well, let me just quote the Deputy Director of the Polish Economic Institute, Andrzej Kubysiak. Apologies, Andrzej, if I mispronounced and butchered your name. It was a mistake. But if he says here that Poland's rising wages, improved job market are pulling citizens back, he says that this is making a turning point. Poland is no longer a departure country, but a destination for both Poles and foreign professionals. Now, I know this because I have some of my clients who are there, I have some of my friends, some of my business partners who've gone there. Firstly, it was the only member to avoid recession in the 2008 financial crisis. So, that is something that proves that these guys have their head on their shoulders. But there are other things as well. First of all, its purchasing power per person is actually now above Japan. Bet you didn't know that. And is poised to overtake Switzerland. So again, on an upward curve. When you're looking at all the other countries and where they're all going, like let's just start with France is on its 5th prime minister in the last 2 years, or let's talk about the UK where half the cabinet is resigned, or you talk about other countries like US, Canada. Like unfortunately, a lot of these countries, I don't think the new guy is going to fix what the previous guy and the previous guy and the previous guy did. But essentially, Poland seems to be doing things the right way. What else is impressive? Poland ranks as one of the safest countries in Europe with a safety index of 71.3 and a crime index of 28.7. Far better than Germany at 39.6. France is at 55. I mean, France is like, this is twice as safe as France. France is twice as dangerous as Poland. Both European countries, by the way. And the UK is at 48, so it's not far off. So Poland is infinitely safer as a country. Another reason why Poles are heading back to Poland and non-Poles are also moving to Poland is the fact that it's the only European country that has not had one terror attack. When you look around Europe, and by the way, I was in London when 7/7 happened, it's something that is the basic human right to be able to feel safe. And unfortunately, if you see what's going on the streets and the marches, people had enough. They don't feel safe anymore. Poland has had a huge influx of Ukrainians come into there, which makes up, based on this figure, around 60% of the 2.1 million foreigners who have arrived in the last few years. But if you look at it, yes, the figures look pretty healthy. I see a lot of nationalities there that you can see why they would probably integrate. You've got Belarus, you've got Russia, Georgia as well. So these are countries where people can assimilate into the culture. So maybe there's something there as well. There's a few residency options that you've got here. here. So you've got the temporary residency permits for 3 years, and then you've got the permanent, which is available after 5 years. I'm not going to go through all the categories here. You've got the business activity residency. So you need to show that, again, like a lot of these, that you're self-sufficient financially. The one reason that we don't do this as a company is because they are, and you can probably guess from the previous quote that I read out, is that they're very selective about people. Now, as a business, we can't do anything where we can't see there's a path through to the end. We need to go in something where we can make sure that essentially you tell us this and we'll do this. But it seems that they are very picky depending on what they want. And so for some of our clients, it's just it doesn't work for them. And that's why we don't offer it as a company. As you can see, it's not a straightforward process. But if you are one of those nationalities that you think that they would be very keen on, let's say North American, for example, we're getting quite a few because they like the fact that it has traditional values. You could look to do this. The path citizenship is 10 years, which is of continuous residence. So, not the fastest in the world by any stretch. But if you're going there, you're really looking for quality of life and really integrating into society and enjoying Poland for what it is. Tax advantages. It's actually quite an attractive country, Poland. Actually, I generally find Eastern Europe has some really great deals. Bulgaria being one of them. Montenegro is another. There's some really nice tax deals that you can get in Eastern Europe, much more than Western Europe. So you don't even need to leave Europe to get a good deal. And by the way, you've also got lump sum in Italy, Greece, you've got Portugal with the NHR. So some of them are a lot closer than you think. But let's go through this one. You've got special economic zones where you can get up to 50% income tax exemption on eligible investments, property tax exemptions for business facilities. You've got a corporate income tax that standard is 19%. They drop it down to 9% for small businesses. That's lower than what you get in Western Europe for sure. You see where we're going with all of this. Western Europe is just like, and by the way, taxes are going to go up again in Western Europe. So at what point does it stop? It's also got a personal income tax that is progressive, 0 to 32%, nothing to write home about, but you do have allowances for young professionals. I like that type of stuff. Polish Beckham law, which is interesting. So the Beckham law, which is the one in Spain, it allows you a lump sum tax for expatriates, which is 200,000 zloty, about $55,000, and you've got social benefits as well, and you've got broad foreign income exemption. So that's nice. I like that. It gives you an alternative to Spain. R&D tax relief. I like that type of stuff as well. Deduct 100 to 200% of qualifying expenses, and you have retroactive claims of up to 5 years. So Poland's got some decent tax incentives as well. Good quality of life. It's not as cheap as it used to be, but again, I keep saying this, where is cheap these days? South America, maybe, yeah, in certain countries. Asia, yes, definitely. But Poland's got a lot of, it's EU, right? So there's a lot of pluses on that as well. So strong residency options, attractive tax advantages, consistent economic growth, and a country that's going back to basics, making life a lot simpler, which I'm a big fan of in this very unstable world. But let's just summarize some of this data, which is phenomenal. People are moving back, and I can see why. The country's on the up. It's overtaking Switzerland in terms of purchasing power per person. World's 20th largest economy. Yes, it's got some issues with Russia. It's on the border, but it's addressing that. That's probably a downside, I would say. Like, no country is perfect, but it's the only country to avoid recession. It's the only country that has not had any terrorism attacks. It's twice as safe as UK and Europe. Now I see why we're getting a lot of Poland demand. I think it's a great country, and I really hope for its sake and everyone else's sake that it keeps going that trajectory, because we really need some winners in what is a very scary world that is going on right now. If you want to go ahead and look at Poland, I wouldn't blame you looking at some of this information here. It's good to see in a very, very unstable world where there's just too much bad news going on in all these Western countries, to see one country that is going against the trend. You can probably see why they're doing it. They're making some very unpopular decisions that people probably need, actually, and we need protecting from ourselves. But if you want to do Poland, I've already done the banking there, I've already done the real estate investment, the residency. We'd want to make sure that you can definitely get through to the end, so we're not going to take you on as a client if we can't do that. But if you do want to get in contact, please reach out to us. You've got a calendar link above. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'd like to see some good news in unfortunately, a world that doesn't have too much of that right now. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.